And the way that you can break into this is what I'm going to talk about in this video today. I'm going to bring a little bit of history back around so that we can really understand how crazy and insane it is for us to be women in this generation who care about their money stories. So I want to talk about the tabooness, or just like the taboo ideas around money and finance, especially as women. And it kind of triggers me. That's one of the, like, making content is going to trigger you to become a better person. And one of the things I noticed, that I am a content creator that talks strictly about money, is that I feel like I'm a woman, and so I attract a lot of women, and a lot of women still have a taboo idea about money in their heads. And so I don't feel like I attract a lot of men to my channel. All, like, men that I attract are very empowering. They're like very much, congratulations, this is amazing, keep going. Like, I've never attracted like one of those low value low value men in that way when it comes to the type of content that I make. But what I'm saying is that the women that I attract as my clients, or I attract as the people who go to my community, or the people that sign up for my mentorships, right, or any of my other things that I offer, is this idea about money. It's so taboo to us. And I want to talk about why that is, because what I'm noticing is that I'm not going to strictly talk about my class. I'm going to talk about women in general. Like, my TikTok page has over 3,000 followers currently. And I notice it so much, even in my DMs. It's just women not accepting how taboo money is. And if you're not accepting of how taboo money is for us, you're never going to break free from it. One thing that I love so much about inner work is that when something's coming up within you, that is so you can address it. It's not for you to be like, oh my gosh, well, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna ignore it and let it pass. No. It's a balance of both. It's your ability to understand what's going on within you, but also push towards better future for yourself. But you're never going to get to that better future if you're just pushing against like the things that are coming up for you. When you're getting triggered and you're having all these moments of, like, especially with money, you're getting triggered about money situations, that is to heal you. That is to heal our generation. But a lot of women are just ignoring it. They're just like, oh, I'm just going to keep my job and I'm just going to ignore like all these things that are going wrong, all these things that are happening, all these desires I have for money, all these desires I have for expensive luxury. I'm just going to ignore them because it's too taboo to think about money. And so if you were able to talk about money in a non-taboo way, how much closer could you get to your desire? How much closer could you get to your money desire if you never were taboo about money? And so when I was really taboo, thinking in a taboo way about money, I was very quiet about money. I didn't say money. I didn't want money. I didn't want to buy things. I was very in a lower money consciousness mindset. And so as I've developed it, I've really understood the difference between what happens and how you live when you see it as taboo, and what happens when you don't see it as taboo. So I want to unravel that for us today. And one thing I wanted to talk about is that your parents are probably alive in the 1970s. And even in the 1970s, my parents included, even in the 1970s, which was not that long ago, right? Our parents, not our great-grandparents, not our great-great-great-great-great-great-great parents, our parents, like one generation ago, right? Those people were alive during a time when it was hard for a woman to have access to credit. It was hard for women to get access to what they needed to build businesses, to build wealth for themselves, to be able to live on their own and not depend on a man. And we're going to talk about that as well. I want to talk so deeply about this topic because this is going to unravel some things within you. And money has always been a taboo topic. It's always been taboo because that was not that long ago. Like, understand that your parents, probably your aunts or uncles as well, were all alive during a time in which women had a very hard time getting the access to money that they needed. Now we don't have that problem, but we're still internalizing all the trauma that we've been through with money as women because it wasn't that long ago. So maybe in 100 years, maybe 2-3 generations down, 6-7 generations down, 8 generations down, we can say, you know what? We don't even feel that anymore. Women have collectively healed. But that's not going to happen 7 generations or 8 generations or 10 generations from now if we don't start today. And I definitely think that's what's currently happening with all the women who are being attracted to my channel and wanting to get into my money consciousness community and wanting to get that membership is not because they see some just content about money. It's a collective inner healing from what our parents have been through. And so we're going to talk all about that. Okay, so well, I've already kind of touched on it, but the taboo that I'm talking about is the fact that women have either not had access to money, or the story around money when it relates to women has never really been clear. It's never been clear. I still don't think it's clear at all. A lot of the work that I did, all of the work that I did was from the internet and from women I don't know. There's no woman in my life, no shade or anything like that. I'm just literally giving real examples so that you can say, wow, in my life, I don't have that either. I don't have any friends. I don't have any nieces or female friends or aunts or mother or grandmother who would ever talk to me about money. Like, let's understand that most of us don't have a person like that in our lives. And it's not that it's bad and that they're gatekeeping and they don't want us. No, they literally just hopped out of the generation that is no longer struggling with money. So we can't blame them for the fact that we can't blame them for the fact that they pass down struggles with money to us internally, because that's just something that has been passed down. But we can't say that in 25 years that we're still unhealed from money. That just doesn't make sense. We have to do something, right? So that's what these videos are really about. And women have always had financial dependence on the man, the brother, the husband, the dad, the nephew sometimes. Whatever man was in your life, you might even have a son and depend on him for money because you are so internally dependent on a male figure in that masculine energy for money. That doesn't have to stop, right? We'll talk about that after in a little bit, as well as another point. But you don't have to stop wanting and desiring and wishing and wanting and feeling this inner deep desire for a man to provide for you. That is right. However, when you feel like because he's providing, you also can't provide for yourself, that's where we get wrong. And I've been in relationships, not many because I'm only 24, but I've been in maybe 4 or 5 different relationships. And during those relationships, I was extremely dependent for money. And I never even thought I would say that out loud, but I was extremely dependent. And it's because I was carrying around this taboo feeling in my heart that I'm a woman that I just can't do it. I can't make my own money. I can't find a way to make money without a 9-to-5, and I'm not meant for that, and I'm not supposed to be earning money, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what that did for me is it perpetuated the idea that talking about money is inappropriate. It perpetuated the idea that women aren't supposed to have money because we don't know what to do with it, and if we don't know what to do with it, then that means we're not supposed to have it. Like, when I started my business, did I know how to grow? Did I know how to build a community? Did I know how to do any of this? Did I know how to work with clients? Absolutely not, but I figured it out. Okay? And so that's what I want us to do as women. I don't want us to think, oh, because I don't know how right now, that means no. No. That just means find a woman that's in her power and listen to what she's saying, download those beliefs that she has, and really try to integrate what she's trying to heal within you so that you don't have to deal with that again. Because if you want to start your own business, fine. If you want your husband to pay for everything, but you also earn your own money in your business, fine. If you want him to pay for everything and you decide, well, actually, I don't want to work at all, fine. But you need to make your decision not based off the fact that you can't. It's the fact that you're choosing what you actually want. Okay? Choosing for a man to provide for you is not because it's what you want. It could be because that's all you think you can get. And that's still a form of settling if you feel like you can't provide for yourself. So I need you to understand that if you're in any relationship where you feel like, oh my God, they're providing, great. And it kind of takes the weight off of your head, like up in this area, it takes that weight off. And it's like, oh, because they're providing, that means I don't have to worry about it. I can just sit back and I don't have to try to figure anything out. that is coming from a lack place, where when we started getting that taboo programming to think that talking about money is inappropriate, we have to be dependent on men, we can't talk about money, we can't have money, we don't know what to do with this, so we shouldn't have it. All of that needs to be unwired. So it's still, what I want to bring to your attention is that it's still a taboo. It's still a taboo. Just because women now have businesses and women are now millionaires and women have CEO positions and they run corporations and we rule the stock market, and because we are so in power, doesn't mean it's not an integrated belief. It's still integrated in a lot of women, and some of us are emerging from that group and saying no, this is wrong. And as more women emerge, more women will continue to emerge and continue to hear information about money, right? I think this is so interesting because even with the thing about Shira7, she's a very popular YouTuber that talks about relationships. And one thing I have noticed is that she absolutely shifted the minds of this generation of young women to be able to think differently about men. Do I agree or disagree with what she posts? That is not what this video is about. What this video is about is that she has been posting on her channel for maybe like 10 or so years, I heard, to collectively change this idea in women that they should get better, should deserve better, should want better for themselves. And if you really listen to her content, it's not really like, oh, get a man for his money and then leave him in the whatever. No, most of it is woman empowerment. Most of it is, you're a woman, you deserve anything. You're a woman, you deserve to be treated like a princess. You're a woman, you get to whatever. And so when I hear her, maybe that's also because of my own mindset, right? So when I hear her content, that's what I hear. I'm a woman that can get whatever I want. I'm a woman that doesn't need someone to give me something. Them giving me something is not my pass out of trying to make my life better, because she doesn't depend on her husband. She uses him as a provider. But she has a whole YouTube channel with almost 1 million subscribers. She has more than like 3 million followers across all platforms. Do you think that woman is broke? Do you think she has her own business? She has her own mentorship community on YouTube. She has all, and because I'm a business owner, I can see all these little passive incomes that she has. She has a lot of passive income streams. And she's not an idiot. But she's not going to say, oh, my husband pays for everything. My husband's a provider, so I'm not going to do anything with my life. But a lot of women do. And so I love, whether she said something I agree with or not, I love the fact that she's being herself and she's saying, this is what I believe. Take it or leave it. Like, believe what parts you want to believe. Leave the rest, right? That's what I love, right? And that's even with my own content. If you're watching my content and you hear me say something, you're like, ooh, leave it. Watch another video and take whatever you feel resonates with you. You don't have to agree with everything I say. I don't agree with 100% of what anybody says. I have my own mentors that I'm like, did you say that? I don't really like that you said that, but I do like these other things you say, and they're really empowering, and I know that they're helpful, and I know that they work, so I'm going to take those, leave the rest. And that's what you can do with anybody's content if you wanted to do that as well. But it's the same thing with money. Like, you don't have to depend on a man for money. You can have both. You can have both. And one thing that I struggled with a lot is like, well, if I make money, he ain't gonna give me none. That's never been the case. That's never been the case. I don't want to get too much into the tea. That's never been the case. I've never had someone say, you make so much money, I'm not spending any on you. And if they did, that would be a person I don't want to be around, because they're not even in their power. So how could I expect them to see me in my power? They're not going to treat me like I'm in my power if they're not in theirs. So it all wraps around to the same idea of that internalization we have for it to be taboo. But just because it exists within the collective does not mean it has to exist within you. And you can actually be part of that collective healing, because I want to use Shira7 as an example, because she's like one of the only people, I would also say Wizard Liz, these women with these huge platforms who have been able to transform the minds of young women and raise them up to think better about themselves. You might not agree with 100% of things Wizard Liz says or does or whatever, but her content is meant to empower. And so she's participating in an active, a collective healing of the taboo around money, about around success, about feeling good about yourself, around self-concept, about manifestation, about all those things. So we have to be able to understand that just because it's not 1970 anymore, that doesn't mean anything. Because the people that were existing during that time internalized that, and then they had us as kids. So we still have everything that they internalized, and it's our job to show up with the feelings that that whatever we're feeling like we need to talk about, we have to talk about them so that we can collectively raise everyone's consciousness, and women's consciousness specifically. Like I said in the beginning, I kind of am cringing at the fact that I mostly attract women because I'm like, everybody's welcome. I love talking about money with anybody, but I know more so now that the reason why I'm attracting women is because it's healing a collective within women. Men don't have that taboo in a feeling of it being inappropriate to talk about money and being dependent on anybody else. Like, that's not so much a thing with men. It is, but not as big as it affects women. So it's not a thing that's only for women. It's not like women are the only ones that have money beliefs that aren't good. That's not true. What I'm saying is that women historically have had problems with having access to money that we need, or being able to start our own businesses, or having access to XYZ. That is a fact. So we have to acknowledge that. And I know, like for me, when I started my pages, I was like, God is telling me to start these pages, so I'm going to start them. And I'm expecting anybody with money issues to gravitate to my content. And I'm noticing it's mostly women. I'm like, why is it mostly women? I started this not making it about women. I never put flowers and roses and gumdrops and ballet shoe emojis in all my posts. None of this is targeted towards women, but only, not, I'm gonna say 90%. I think 88% is my current analytics on TikTok is women. And I'm trying to figure out why. It's because we have this inner taboo about money. So the reason why we have this taboo is because psychologically we believe that money is for the people that use it. Money is for the people that use it. The people that use it are the breadwinners. So the men, right? The people were usually men that are the head of our household, that are the, leaders, who are the people that use the money. Women are now also the breadwinners. Don't even really need to exist anymore because women are able to provide for themselves. But psychologically, we think, okay, well, we don't really need to figure out money because we're not breadwinners. We don't really need to focus on money. But that's not how it works anymore. Women, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to have your own money. You're allowed to be provided for and also be rich. To buy yourself luxury things and also have him do that. To take yourself on nice dates and him also do that. You can have both. I've always been a both person. And I've always been like somebody will say, oh, do you want water or coconut water or aloe juice? I'm like, I want coconut water, regular water, aloe juice, and a matcha. All of them. Everything. I want all of it. I've never been like this or that. I'm like this and everything else I desire. So for me, this comes very naturally because I've always just wanted more and more and more and more. So I'm like, I don't care if money's not for the breadwinners. I want money too. And so it wasn't a thing that happened immediately. Like I said, I was in relationships where I depended on people to provide. And I'm like, why am I doing that? And I had to do some really, really deep inner work. I talked about this on my TikTok page in December of last year, where I talked about, which was 6 months ago. It's crazy. 6 or 7 months ago, where I talked about I was in those relationships and I didn't trust myself to make my own money. I didn't trust myself to have my own business. And I noticed that when I am not in a relationship, we're not talking to anybody, I'm not in any type of communication, the money skyrockets. The opportunities skyrocket. The people that want to be in my community skyrocket. The views skyrocket. The clarity around my content skyrockets. The people that join my community skyrocket. the people that I see, like I start to see more reoccurring of the same people that are like tapped into my content up. Why? Because I no longer have that idea that I can't have what I want because someone else is giving it to me. So I'm gonna be honest. Have I mastered the ability to be provided for and also have what I want? No. If there's somebody that's like, hey, I'm gonna give you whatever, and I'm committing to doing that, my brain immediately goes into relaxation mode. It's like no more business building, no more money getting. So until I master that, I have enough self-awareness to say I'm not going to accept those things, knowing that they enable me to be lazy about my money making. So I have to do my own inner work to be able to handle both. But what I'm saying is that it's possible to have both, because like we don't live in the age where money is just for the breadwinner. Money's for everybody. Money does not have to be for the person that uses it. I can have money and literally never spend it and whatever. Like, what if I build $1 million business and I have someone paying all my bills? So what if that's the case? So there's so many weird and ridiculous and just blasphemous things that we think as women that don't have to be true. Okay, so normally, like I said, we normally think that money is not for the nurturers. Money is not for the people that rear the family, which are the women. It's for the breadwinners, which are normally the men. But we don't have to operate like that anymore. And so I'm calling you, inviting you to not accept the fact of money being taboo anymore. For you to actually heal that, because if you're not accepting of the fact that it is taboo and that you want to break those beliefs, you're going to stay suffering and you're going to stay struggling, because it keeps you in a loop of not understanding your power. Like I said in the beginning, you can't just spiritually bypass your way through life and think you're going to get anywhere. You have to actually approach the beliefs that are coming up. If you are not accepting of the fact that money is taboo, how do you ever think you're going to move closer to your money goal? It's not going to happen if you're not paying attention to what's currently happening and the things that are triggering you and the things that are like constantly showing up in your reality, because your reality is a reflection of all the past thoughts in your head. So you need to be able to get those thoughts out. You have to be able to get those thoughts out, but they're not going to get out by ignoring them. You get them out by accepting that money is taboo for women and that it's no longer taboo for me. I am acknowledging the fact that it is intrinsically taboo, and I am not allowing that to be the case anymore. That's what we're doing. So don't think it's taboo, because if you think it's taboo, then you won't be transparent. And if you're not transparent about your money goals, your money desires, the fact that you want to buy things, the fact that you love money, the fact that you love spending money, the fact that you want to go on every vacation, the fact that you want to have your own money, your own business, etc. If you're not transparent about all those things, you're never going to get them. So if you think it's taboo, it's not just holding you back because you think it's taboo. It's holding you back because now you can't get to your desires because you're blocking it by not accepting it's taboo. Okay? So I also want you to ask yourself, how many times have you been taught to hide from the people like your elders that have had that internalized feeling about themselves, but they brought it down to you? And so you've been taught to hide about money, to not ask questions, to feel like it's inappropriate to talk about money, to not even use the word money, to not want to seek money, to not desire money, to feel like, oh, well, I'm a woman, I should just look pretty and that should be enough. This is off topic, I've literally had another woman say to my face, you should actually drop out of school and just go become a model. Like, you're just, you take really nice pictures and you should just like drop out. Like, you don't even need this education. Excuse me? Like, granted. But we are that was someone who's my same age. So we are internalized to feel like it's taboo to want the money, to want the education, to want the thing that's going to bring us further, to want the business. Like I said, all those desires that we're not being transparent about. Like, why can't I be a model and also be in school? Why can't I have the provider and also know I can build my own business? Why can't I have both sides? I don't have to choose. And that's exactly what happened in my mind when I thought about it. I was like, Well, what if I just want both? Like, nothing's stopping me from doing both. Silence in the courtroom, like nothing is stopping me from doing both. But I don't want to do that. I want to be in school and I want to do the things that I'm pursuing, and I had 2 businesses at that time. She didn't know that, but I'm like, why would you even say something like that? And I don't even know if it was to be taken as a compliment or if I was looking too deep into it, but how it felt to me at that moment was just a revelation of what I'm talking about here. It's like not accepting that money is taboo, that, you know, all the things that we want, even when it comes to education is seen so as manly and masculine, and women shy away from getting educations. I've seen this on social media, women shying away from education because they feel like, oh, my dad's telling me to go get an education and he's a man, so I'm not going to go get it because he doesn't understand what it's like to be a woman. Like, we have such a divide when it comes to what we actually want versus what we're allowing ourselves to have. So don't think it's taboo. Break free from the taboo. You need to. And we need to collectively start talking about this. We need to collectively, together, like, understand what is actually happening. So through this video, I showed you exactly a lot, actually, of examples of why this is happening to us. Why are we doing this? Why are we collectively feeling like we want to talk about money? Collectively wanting to have businesses, collectively wanting all these things, right? And as the days go on, more and more women are being pulled into this vortex of like abundance and money. They're just like, I want to be near that woman in her power who talks about money. That's what's literally happening. So if you're one of those women and you want to be near someone else or other people that want to be more money conscious, I have a money consciousness community. It's free and it's linked in my YouTube description. It's not in the video. It's not in the video descriptions. It's in the channel descriptions. The link lives on my homepage, my YouTube homepage on kydreamsbig. So make sure that you join that community because I want you in there. There's a section where you can drop your own questions for me to answer, but also I make a lot of posts in there, and you can also comment on them and see exactly what I'm talking about. Apply all the affirmations, apply all the strategies, and really tap into the energy of a woman that's in her power that talks about money. Okay, so you can be surrounded by more of this energy, because if you keep hiding from money, keep hiding from the taboo topic of money, you're never going to have the money that you want. And you might in 50 years, you might in 40 years, you might in 60 years. But you're not going to get it as soon as you could have because you're stopping yourself. Like, the only thing between you and your desire is the fact that you don't have one of those beliefs broken that you need to already have broken. And so this video was to break one of those main beliefs. Money is no longer taboo for us. I need you to let that go before you click off this video. Before you click off this video, agree that money is no longer taboo. You're going to talk about money. You're going to discuss money. You're not ashamed of talking about incomes. You're not ashamed to talk about your money story. You're going to get comfortable with talking about money. You're going to not allow money to seem like a financial dependence on somebody else. And that if you're financially dependent, you don't have to worry about anything. You can relax. Like, if you want to relax, sure. Relax out of your own desire, not out of your self-disempowerment for your inability to do it for yourself. All right. So that's what I was doing in those relationships. I wasn't unappreciative of what they were doing. I was just so disempowered by the fact that they were enabling me to just never do anything. Like, I was literally, and I know that that's what I was attracting at that time. And I am going to start to attract the relationships that allow me to be in my power and also do what I desire. Those things exist at the same time. All right. So I love you so much. I'm so glad that you watched this video to the full end. That means that you're one of the women that actually want a change. It's so common for women to feel like, okay, well, I watched 5 minutes and, now I got and just kind of make what. No, for the women that actually want that difference, they're going to get every single piece of juice that they can get and apply it as soon as they can. And I really feel like you're one of those people because you made it to 30 minutes throughout this video. So I love you so much. I'm so happy that you're here, and I'll see you in my next video. The not the description, but the comment section is open for any of your questions that you have. But again, if you want to talk to me directly, just go into the free community, the money consciousness community in my YouTube. I keep calling it description. It was technically a description. Like my channel homepage is up there, and go ahead and get into that, because the posts that are in there are potent and they really go crazy, because I don't have to just film a video and talk about it. I can just immediately put the juice in there, whether I'm busy or I'm like about to get on a client call. I don't have time to make a full 30-minute video, whatever the case is. Those posts go like this. And I'm so excited to grow that community as well, because as I grow in my financial story, you as well do. And because you are, your nieces, your mom, your aunt, your grandma, your whoever is also going to develop. And that is the collective healing. It's not just me, you listen to me, and then like you just sit there and listen to me. No, I'm healing, you're healing, and when you heal, everybody heals. So again, I love you so much, and